Have you ever finished a 12-hour day feeling completely drained, yet when you look back, you can't point to one thing that actually moved your life forward? Maybe you answered every email. Maybe you sat in meetings that could have been a two-line message. Or maybe you spent your whole day putting out other people's fires and your own dreams stayed untouched. If this sounds like you, this story is for you. Stay with me until the end. Because once there was a man who tried to light up the whole world until a simple physics lesson taught him the power of a laser beam. And that lesson changed everything. In a glass-walled office tower in the center of a frantic city, there lived a 30-year-old marketing manager named Mark. Mark didn't just work hard, Mark worked loud. His calendar looked like a battlefield, color blocks stacked on top of each other, calls, catch-ups, check-ins, quick syncs, and urgent reviews. He was the first one in the building at 7 a.m., the last one to leave at 9 p.m. He ate lunch at his desk without tasting it. He kept 2 chargers, one in his bag, one in his drawer, like a soldier keeps extra ammo. And when someone asked him, "How are you?" Mark always smiled, breathless and proud. Incredibly busy, non-stop. People admired him for it. His boss called him reliable. His coworkers called him the fixer. Clients loved him because he responded in minutes, not hours. From the outside, Mark looked successful. But inside, Mark felt like he was running in place. Because Mark had a dream he rarely said out loud. For 3 years, he had wanted to launch his own boutique marketing agency. Not a massive company, not a shiny empire, just something honest. A small team, good clients, work that made him feel alive again. He had the skills, he had the contacts, he had the hunger. But every day, that dream got buried under an avalanche of urgent but unimportant tasks. He would open a blank document titled Business Plan, and then his phone would buzz. "Hey Mark, can you take a look at this deck real quick? Mark, the client wants a tiny change, super fast. Mark, can you hop on a call? It'll only be 10 minutes. 10 minutes became 30. 30 became an hour. An hour became a day. Then the day became a week, and suddenly another month was gone. At night, Mark would lie in bed scrolling through other people's success stories. People his age launching companies, moving to better apartments, posting photos in the middle of the day with captions like "Chasing the Dream." Mark would tap like with a thumb that felt heavy. Then he'd roll over, stare at the ceiling, and whisper to himself, "Tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow." At first, Mark told himself a comforting story. "I'm building experience. I'm making connections. I'm learning how the industry works." But deep down, he knew the truth. He wasn't building his dream, he was building everyone else's. He was like a man trying to boil the ocean with a single candle. And the worst part? He was proud of the candle. One Tuesday in November, rain hammered the city like it was angry. The sky was the color of wet concrete. Mark's shoes squished as he rushed into the building. He had 3 meetings before 10 a.m., a client launch at noon, a report due by end of day, and somewhere, hidden in the corner of his mind, one quiet reminder: submit business license application. It was the last step he needed to make his agency real. He'd already chosen a name, already saved the domain, already designed a logo late at night when he couldn't sleep. All he had to do was submit the application before the deadline. Just one simple thing. But the day attacked him. At 8:15, his boss pulled him into an emergency meeting about a presentation. At 9:30, a client demanded a quick rewrite of their campaign message. At 11, a teammate made a mistake and Mark stepped in to fix it. At 1, the launch hit a snag and Mark worked through lunch to patch it. At 3, his phone buzzed with a calendar alert. Business license application, due 5 p.m. Mark saw it. He even felt a spark of panic. But then another message popped up. "Mark, need you in conference room, now." So Mark went, because that's what Mark did. He said yes. He handled it. He saved the day. At 6:47 p.m., Mark finally sat alone at his desk. The office was quiet now. Most people had gone home. The city outside the glass walls looked like 1,000 blurred lights in the rain. Mark opened his laptop, typed in the website for the application, clicked Submit, and watched the screen freeze for half a second. Then it loaded a single line of text that felt like a punch. Application window closed. Deadline passed. Mark stared. His brain tried to deny it. He refreshed the page. Same message. He tried another browser. Same message. Then he checked his email. There it was. A polite, clean, automatic message. "We regret to inform you." Mark's hands went cold. For a moment, he didn't breathe. 3 years of dreaming. 3 years of soon. And he missed it because he spent the day fixing someone else's typo. Not a life or death problem. Not a true emergency. A typo. Mark pushed his chair back and stood up like he didn't know where his own body was. He walked to the elevator, down to the parking garage, and sat in his car with the engine off. Rainwater dripped down the concrete pillars. His phone screen glowed in the darkness. Mark stared at the rejection email until the words blurred. Then he hit the steering wheel once. Not hard enough to break anything, just hard enough to feel something. His throat tightened, and in a whisper that sounded like a confession, he said, "I work harder than anyone I know." His voice cracked. "Why am I going nowhere?" That weekend, Mark tried to escape. Not in a dramatic way, just in the small way people do when their minds are too loud. He grabbed his grandfather's old watch, a heavy, scratched thing with a leather strap, and drove to the edge of town. The watch had stopped ticking months ago. Mark kept forgetting to get it fixed. But now, for some reason, he wanted it working. Maybe because it reminded him of time. Maybe because it reminded him of a man who didn't waste it. The shop was small and dusty, squeezed between a closed bookstore and a faded diner. A bell rang when Mark opened the door. Inside, the air smelled like old wood and metal and history. Shelves were stacked with strange objects, antique radios, brass compasses, cracked picture frames, gears in jars. Behind the counter sat an older man with wild white hair and calm eyes. He looked up slowly, like he had all the time in the world. "Can I help you?" the man asked. Mark placed the watch on the counter. "My grandfather's. It stopped." The man picked it up carefully, like it was something alive. He turned it, listened, nodded. "I can fix it," he said. "Give me about 20 minutes." Mark exhaled and checked his phone without thinking. Email, Slack, notifications. His thumb hovered. Then he looked around, embarrassed at his own reflex. The man noticed. Not in a judging way, in a seeing way. "You keep checking that thing like it's a heartbeat," the man said. Mark gave an awkward laugh. "Work." The man set the watch down and leaned back. "You're carrying work on your face," he said softly, "and in your shoulders, and in the way your leg is bouncing like it wants to run." Mark stopped bouncing his leg, then realized it started again. He forced it still. "I'm fine," Mark said automatically. The man didn't argue. He just watched Mark the way a mechanic watches an engine that's making a strange sound. Then he said almost gently, "You look like a man running a race with no finish line." Something in Mark's chest tightened, because that sentence was too accurate, too clean, like someone finally said the truth out loud. Mark looked down at his hands. "I'm trying to get everything done, but it never ends.
I feel like my energy is pulled in 1,000 directions." The man nodded once, as if Mark had confirmed something. Then he stood up. "Come," he said. "Let me show you something about energy." Mark hesitated. This was weird, but Mark was tired of normal, so he followed. In the back of the shop was a workroom. A table sat under a bright lamp. On it were 2 devices. One looked like a normal light fixture with a 100-watt bulb. The other was sleek metal, compact, with warning labels on the side. Silas pulled out 2 pairs of safety goggles. He handed one to Mark. Mark frowned. "What is this?" The man smiled slightly. "My name is Silas. I used to be an engineer. I fixed machines for a living." He pointed to the bulb. "This is familiar." Then he pointed to the metal device. "And this is misunderstood." Silas flipped the switch on the bulb. Warm light filled the room. It touched the corners, the dust, the shelves. It made everything visible. It felt comforting. Silas held his hand near it. Nothing happened. No danger, lots of light, no breakthrough. Then he turned it off and placed a thick wooden plank on the table. Mark's eyebrows lifted. Silas touched the sleek device like he respected it. "This," he said, "is a 100-watt laser." Mark stared at the plank, then at the device. Silas put on his goggles. "Watch closely." Silas flipped the switch. A thin, bright beam appeared, sharp and terrifying in its precision. Within seconds, smoke rose from the wood. Mark's eyes widened. The beam didn't spread. It didn't glow softly. It didn't try to fill the room. It stayed on one point, and that point started to burn.
The wood didn't just darken, it changed. Smoke curled up in a thin ribbon, sharp and bitter. And then, like the plank gave up, the laser burned a clean, perfect hole straight through it. Silas switched the device off. The room went quiet again. Mark stood frozen, goggles on, staring at that hole. His mouth opened, but no sound came out at first. Finally, he whispered, "That's the same power as the bulb?" Silas nodded. "Same amount of energy," he said calmly. "Both are 100 watts." He tapped the light bulb with one finger. "This sends energy everywhere at once. It touches everything, but it doesn't break through anything." Then he nodded toward the laser. "This takes the exact same power and concentrates it into one point." Silas leaned closer, his eyes steady. "The difference isn't the power." He paused. "The difference is the focus." Mark swallowed. He felt that sentence land like a weight in his chest. Because it didn't feel like a clever idea, it felt like an explanation for his whole life. Silas took the plank, turned it so Mark could see the hole. "You," Silas said gently, "are living like the light bulb." Mark flinched, almost defensive. Silas didn't raise his voice. He didn't insult him. He simply continued, "You scatter your energy on 1,000 things, emails, favors, meetings, noise. You touch everything. You glow everywhere." Silas paused again. "But you don't cut through." Mark's throat tightened. His mind instantly produced excuses. "But that's my job. But people rely on me. But I can't just stop." Silas nodded as if he expected that. "No, you can't stop working." Then he pointed at Mark's phone, still glowing in his palm like a small, anxious moon. "But you can stop leaking your power." Silas folded his arms. "You become a laser," he said. "You choose one major goal, just one, and you direct your intensity there until you break through." Mark's eyes dropped to the plank again. That hole wasn't wide, it wasn't dramatic, it was precise, and it was undeniable. Silas stepped back. The laser didn't worry about lighting the corners of the room. It didn't care about making everything visible. He tapped the plank. It cared about one thing: breaking through. Mark's voice was small. "So what do I do?" Silas's expression softened. "You pick one wall, one obstacle, one dream." Then he held up one finger, and for a while, you stopped trying to be useful to everyone else. Mark felt a sting of fear, because usefulness had become his identity. If he wasn't needed, who was he? Silas seemed to read the thought without hearing it. "Most people," Silas said, "are terrified of doing the most important work." Mark blinked. Silas continued, "So they fill their day with small work that makes them feel safe." He nodded toward the shop's front room. "Light bulb work. Bright, busy, comforting." Then he looked back at Mark. "But your dream," he lowered his voice, "your dream requires heat." Mark stood there, quiet. For the first time in months, he wasn't thinking about what he had to respond to. He was thinking about what he had to become. Silas returned to the counter, picked up the watch again, and opened the back. "Your grandfather's watch stopped." He held up a tiny spring between tweezers. "Not because it had no power." He placed the spring down. "It stopped because something small broke the system." Silas looked up. "You don't need more hours, Mark." He smiled slightly. "You need alignment." That night, Mark went home and did something he hadn't done in a long time. He sat in silence. No TV, no scrolling, no catching up. Just him and a notebook. He wrote a list of everything pulling at him. Meetings, messages, requests, tasks, just quick favors. The list kept growing. 25 items, then 30. It was like watching his own life spill onto paper. Mark stared at it and felt tired in his bones. This list wasn't a plan, it was a trap, a light bulb list. He grabbed a fresh sheet of paper and he wrote one sentence at the top in big letters. Laser target, launch agency website. Not build an agency, not change my life, just one target, a clear point, something he could aim at. Then he did something that made his stomach twist. He drew a box beneath it and wrote, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. equals deep work. No phone, no email, no exceptions. 2 hours. Just 2. But to Mark, it felt like stealing, like he was doing something wrong. His brain screamed, "What if someone needs you? What if your boss messages? What if you fall behind? What if you get fired?" Mark stared at the words Silas had said. "You can stop leaking your power." So he made a decision. For 90 days, he would become a laser. Day 1 was brutal. Mark woke up at 6:15 a.m. He reached for his phone without thinking. Then he froze. His hand hovered like it was addicted. He placed it face down on the dresser. He sat at the kitchen table with his laptop and opened a blank web page builder. His brain panicked. 2 hours of focus felt like standing alone in an empty room with your own thoughts. He wrote the homepage headline, deleted it, wrote it again. His mind tried to escape. Maybe check email real quick. He clenched his jaw. No, he kept writing. At 8:89, the urge to quit was screaming. But Mark remembered the plank. The laser didn't move, so he didn't move. At 9 a.m., he stopped. Not because he was done, but because he promised himself the boundary mattered. And that was the first tiny win. Not the website, the boundary.
Week 1 brought resistance. Not from the world, from people. Co-workers who were used to Mark saying yes. "Hey, can you help me with this spreadsheet? Can you review his deck right now? Can you hop on this call?" Mark took a breath and tried something new. "Not right now," he said. "I can look at it after 10." Some people shrugged, but others reacted like he had insulted them. "What do you mean, not right now? It'll take you 2 seconds." 2 seconds. Mark almost laughed, because 2 seconds was never 2 seconds. 2 seconds was his life cut into pieces. He felt guilt crawl up his spine. He wanted to explain himself, to justify, to be liked. But Mark remembered something Silas didn't even have to say. A laser doesn't apologize for being focused. So Mark stayed calm. "I'm in the middle of something," he repeated, after 10. And when he said it, his heart pounded. But he didn't die. The world didn't end. Month 1 was the hardest, because that's when the novelty faded. The first few weeks, Mark felt energized, like he had found a secret weapon. But by week 4, he hit the wall. The website still wasn't perfect. The copy still sounded wrong. He still had a full-time job. He was tired, and the old habits started whispering again. "Just be busy. Just respond to everything. At least you'll feel useful." One night, Mark sat in his apartment staring at the laptop. He had promised himself he'd work for 1 hour after dinner, but he didn't want to. His mind felt heavy. His body felt like wet sand. He closed the laptop, and for a moment he felt relief. Then he imagined Silas holding the plank, the clean hole, the proof. Mark reopened the laptop. He didn't feel motivated. He felt committed. He worked for 20 minutes, then 30, then an hour. Not because it was easy, but because he understood something new. Motivation is a spark. Focus is a furnace. Month 2 brought the first breakthrough. Mark launched the website. Not perfect, but real. A live page with his name on it, his agency name, his services, a contact form. He stared at it like it was a doorway. Then he messaged 3 former clients and 1 trusted contact. Not a desperate pitch, just a simple, honest note. "I'm taking on a small number of projects outside my day job. If you know anyone who needs help, I'd love an introduction." He hit send, and his stomach flipped. For 2 days, nothing happened. Mark's old anxiety returned. See, this was pointless. Then a reply came, a former client. "Actually, yes, we've been looking." They booked a call. Mark prepped like his life depended on it, because in a way, it did. He landed the client. Not a huge contract, not a miracle, but a beginning. A real check, money earned from his own focused effort. Mark held that first payment notification on his phone like it was a trophy. Not because of the amount, because of what it proved. The beam was burning through. Months later, Mark had routines, not just goals, routines. He protected his mornings like they were sacred. He turned off notifications. He learned to let messages sit. He stopped performing busyness and started producing results. And slowly, something happened inside him. His face changed, his shoulders dropped, his breathing slowed. He wasn't racing anymore, he was aiming. By month 5, he had 3 steady clients. By month 6, his side business income matched his salary. And one quiet Wednesday, Mark printed a letter. He held it in his hands, palms sweating. Then he walked into his boss's office. His boss looked up. "What's this?" Mark's voice didn't shake as much as he expected. "My resignation." The room went silent. His boss blinked. "Resignation? Mark, why?" Mark could have listed reasons: burnout, stress, toxic hustle. But he didn't. He simply said, "Because I finally built something that's mine." A week later, Mark went back to the antique shop. The bell rang again as he stepped inside. Silas looked up from the counter, and before Mark even spoke, he smiled. "You look different," he said. "Calmer." Mark laughed softly. "I feel different." Silas set down his tool. "What changed?" Mark looked around the shop, at the quiet shelves, at the warm light. Then he said the words that felt like a new identity. "I stopped trying to light up the room." He paused. "I started cutting through the wall." Silas nodded, satisfied, like a teacher watching a student finally understand. He handed Mark the repaired watch. It ticked steadily now. Mark strapped it on, and as he felt that tiny rhythmic pulse on his wrist, he realized something. Time was never his enemy. Distraction was. "My friend, Mark's story is your story because you have energy, you have ability, you have 100 watts of power inside you every single day. The reason you feel stuck isn't that you're weak, it isn't that you're lazy, it's that your power is scattered. It's leaking into everything, and you're touching everything while breaking through nothing. So let me give you 3 truths that can turn you into a laser beam. 1. Activity is not accomplishment. A full calendar is not a full life. A busy day is not a meaningful day. A rocking chair moves all day but stays in the same corner. Stop measuring your worth by how tired you are. Start measuring your progress by what you finished. 2. You must say no to the light bulb life. To be a laser, you have to ignore the rest of the room. You cannot do everything, and if you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to yourself. Focus on one thing means ignoring 100 others. That's not selfish, that's necessary. 3. Breakthroughs happen at the point of intensity. The laser didn't burn the wood because it had more power. It burned the wood because it didn't move. If you work for 10 minutes, then check your phone, then answer an email, then drift, you are scattering your beam. Stay on one point until you break through. And here is my challenge to you today. Pick one goal for the next 30 days. Just one, not 10, not 5, one. Then choose a daily time block, even if it's only 30 minutes, where you protect that goal like your future depends on it. No phone, no multitasking, no just checking. Be the laser, and you will be amazed how fast you can burn through obstacles that have been standing in front of you for years. If this story helped you, share it with someone who is too busy to succeed. And drop a comment below with this exact prompt. My laser focus this month is blank. Tell me what you're aiming at. Because my friend, don't just light up the room, break through the wall.